Do you catch yourself feeling frustrated that you let that person walk all over you again? Do you feel yourself going numb when they say that sarcastic remark? It hurts deep, like can't breathe, full body hurt when someone you love has hurt you or continues to hurt you. Then comes the lack of trust, not in them, but in ourselves. I didn't stand up for myself. I let someone treat me like that again. We lose faith in ourselves to set limits or push back. And compared to other hurts we've lived through, this moment doesn't even compare, so we just let it go. We can find ourselves justifying their behavior or accepting this is just the way it is. When we have not worked on our own healing, we accept mistreatment because we've survived worse. But when we find healing, we also raise our standards and start setting healthy limits naturally. This video isn't about why they do it or justifying anyone else's behavior. It's about how it hurts and what we can do to heal, grow, set limits, and start trusting in ourselves again. And notice the order I said that was in. We have to heal and grow before we can start setting those limits and ultimately start trusting ourselves again. You may be getting caught in this cycle of shutting down, letting go, feeling upset with yourself, and then beating yourself up for not setting that limit. And during that cycle, there isn't any room to reflect on how it hurts, why it hurts, and create space to nurture the pain. So are you ready for this pattern to change? Let's start with why this pattern happens. Let me introduce myself. I'm Erica Gregory, a licensed marriage and family therapist and the owner of Creek and Alpharetta Counseling. If you're finding this video helpful, help us spread it to others by hitting the like button. Thank you. So why do we get stuck in this pattern? I'll use grief as an example. When someone passes away, the weeks after the loss, your emotion is raw and overwhelming. Every time we remember, the grief floods us again. On the other hand, when the loss was 10 years ago, we're sad, but the pain loses power to shut us down or flood us over. We can remember how it felt. We can remember the wonderful memories. We're flexible and we're more in control. When the pain is fresh, it's stored in the amygdala, the emotional fight or flight, chaotic and overwhelming part of the brain. Think of a toddler having a meltdown. And over time, as we move through the stages of grief, the memories and emotions are organized and they move into the thinking, logical, clear cause and effect part of the brain, which is the cortex. Think of Robert Downey Jr. as Sherlock Holmes thinking through conflict with precision and purpose. When something painful happens that we have little to no control over, or when we cannot predict when this pain will happen again, the pain is consuming. It stops us in our tracks. It changes how we identify who we are. That pain is stuck inside of us. At any time we're reminded of it, or that unpredictable thing happens again, we feel it all over again, plus all the other times before. We relive it, and it's so overwhelming. The emotion swells up, takes over, and it usually takes days to move past it. The amygdala hijacks that whole system and says, here we go again. Shut down, stop feeling, flee and get away, or attack and push away. When this happens without healing over time, it becomes a trauma response. And in the counseling community, we call this a little t trauma because it usually originates in a toxic relationship, some form of verbal abuse, emotional abuse, neglect, loss, complicated grief, or a simple heartbreak. However, most associate trauma with violence, war, or an environmental disaster. And most have no idea that they can experience PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder-like symptoms after a heartbreak or even during a toxic relationship. In my counseling practice, I see a quick pushback of, oh, no, that's not me, as if we can't call it trauma in fear of disrespecting those who have experienced some kind of violence or war. But the reality is we're in denial if we think we have never had a little t trauma in our life. It shows up in our family reunions, in toxic work environments, or in our romantic relationships, even as kids. And it is the shutdown or anger surge that happens when we lose control of our ability to respond, and then we regret our actions later. While helping clients work through current emotions, I usually stumble upon little t trauma patterns with them, and we're able to think back to a painful memory of the past. This realization of what's happening and why it's happening has been so validating because there is a valid reason. It is not that they can't handle it. It's because their brain is mismanaging the emotion in a measurable pattern that research is showing us is very common. And here's the best news. There's a well-researched, highly successful solution, EMDR. So what is EMDR? EMDR is a therapy model offered by counselors that works to move traumatic memories from that overwhelming, reliving experience to a well-organized and manageable memory. But traumatic memories are stored without a sense of space or time. That's why they feel chaotic and overwhelming. EMDR accesses the memory and changes how that memory is stored in the brain. So now you feel that trauma is in the past and you're safe in the present. It's not happening again. The triggers of the present no longer have that same power. If that trigger happens again, you can remember, oh yeah, I remember feeling overwhelmed by this, but staying in control and choosing how you react to it. Here's a good example. Imagine that you're moving and you have everything you own in a box. Little Chi trauma memories would look like none of the boxes are labeled and items from every room are mixed in every box. Then you're asked, go find something. I'm getting stressed out just thinking about it. That's little T trauma. The memories and experiences are all mixed together without a sense of time or order or purpose. It's just a lot of emotion all over the place. The process of EMDR goes and organizes those boxes, puts labels on them, and even gives you a good unpacking plan. That's what the cortex does to little T trauma experiences. You remember, it's still painful, but it's manageable. You can think, I'm not that little girl anymore. I'm safe right now, and I feel control in how I choose to react to it. The impact is gaining power over our emotional reactions. EMDR helps us grow, accept our emotion, reorganize it, and gain power over it. After that growth, when a toxic person in our life is triggering, we now have the power to just witness it. There's a triggering behavior. Stay mentally online and think through, okay, I know how I should best react to this. That's when we can set that limit, walk away, and here's the best part. The rest of your day isn't gone with an emotional fallout from it. You'll be hurt, it will be hard, but you can move on with your day. EMDR is empowerment, and it has helped so many people, including me, take back their life with grounded intention. To offer EMDR, a counselor needs extensive training, and we do have counselors at JCAC who offer EMDR, have received the training, and have extensive experience working with trauma. In the description below, you can learn how you can reach a JCAC counselor or learn more. If you want to learn more about mental health or join the JCAC community, hit that subscribe button or watch more. We look forward to seeing you in our next video.